With Thanksgiving, Christmas, the end of the year around the corner, my guess is that many of you have been working hard over this past year, or who have been working hard even in this last quarter, are thinking, if I can just get to Thanksgiving, if I can just get to the end of the year, then I'll be able to recover. Then I will be able to escape from the burnout that I feel encroaching upon me. I'll be able to get some relief from this stress. Unfortunately, let me tell you that that will not work. I have a friend who's a small business owner, entrepreneur, been growing his business, working super hard over the last few months. In September, he started telling me about this trip that he was going to be taking with his family to Hawaii in late October. And as we got closer, time after time, he would say, oh yeah, well, let me just get to this trip. If I can just get to the Hawaii trip, then, I'll be able to sleep more. Then I'll be able to invest in some other areas in my life and balance things out a bit more. I'll be able to escape some of this stress. Well, the Hawaii trip came. It was amazing, wonderful time with family, beautiful surroundings. Then as we were talking, 1 week, 2 weeks later, he was like, honestly, not much has changed. The same challenges, the same stress, the same burdens that I was feeling before are still here. And that is what happens when we think that vacation or holiday can solve our burnout problem. This isn't to say that vacations or holidays are bad in and of themselves. In fact, I would recommend definitely take them. And, Americans at least have a challenge with this, have a problem with this in many cases. Research from Project Time Off shows that, at least in 2018, a quarter of all Americans hadn't taken vacation in a year. Over half of Americans were leaving vacation time still on the table, meaning they weren't taking all their vacation time. That's a problem in and of itself. So we're not saying don't take vacation, do it. Enjoy the holidays. But at the same time, if you engage in if I can just thinking, if I can just get to that holiday, you're going to have a problem, because that type of thinking basically says, okay, I'm going to allow myself to do whatever is necessary to accomplish this short-term goal at the cost of long-term consequences. And in reality, that is the challenge of burnout. The World Health Organization defines burnout this way: a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. The key word there is chronic. Chronic refers to the ongoing nature of stress. The example I like to give is that trying to solve burnout by taking a holiday or vacation is a lot like saying, I'm going to fast for a week and believe that I will never become overweight again. It doesn't work. You can't solve a chronic problem with a temporary solution. You need an ongoing solution. And really, there are only two. There are only two solutions to ongoing chronic problems. You either need to change your behaviors, your ongoing behaviors, which are habits, or you need to change your environment. When it comes to changing your environment, you have two options. One is to physically leave your job. But the problem is, many people that I talk to who are burnt out actually don't want to leave their job. They like what they do. They feel like they are having an impact. But it's just overwhelming. It's overburdening them. It's crushing their personal life. And so for some of you, that might be the option. But for many of you, that won't. And so you can also change your environment in a more subtle way by influencing how things happen in the workplace, by shaping some of the policies or the relationships that you have. That's an option. But really, the option that gives you the most control and that you have the most control to influence is changing your own habits. When it comes to what habits work in terms of helping people recover from burnout, it's interesting because a lot of the research around burnout recovery is inconclusive, meaning that they don't actually know what works, or something works in some cases, but it doesn't work in others. For example, things that work for, other types of mental illness conditions like depression don't actually work consistently for burnout, exercise being one of them. There are three behaviors, 3 strategies, however, that have consistent evidence around them, that they actually help you escape from burnout, recover from it. And the first one, you're not going to be surprised, but bear with me, it's work less. Now, most of the time when I tell people that, they're skeptical. They think, oh, well, I can't work less. It's I just have too much to do, or my boss is loading work on me, and I have no control over that. And that there's certainly an element of truth there. But what I would like to share with you is some recent examples that show that we can work dramatically less and get the same or more done. Now, I've been saying that for years. That was my own experience. Our diagnostic on our platform shows that people could save an average of 3 hours and 14 minutes per day. But most people don't believe that. However, recent studies are showing that that is actually feasible. So Microsoft Japan, the Japanese office of Microsoft, ran an experiment over the summer where they went down to 4-day work weeks. And what they found was that productivity increased 40%. A German technology consulting firm that was just featured in the Wall Street Journal, went down to 5-hour workdays from the typical 8 and was able to maintain level of output and performance. These experiments are showing that it's possible to get a lot more work done in much less time. And that is possible for you too. Where do you start? You could start where I started. Basically, I said, okay, I know I'm working this much, and it's important to know how many hours you're actually working. And then set a goal for what you want to work the next month. For me, I started by saying I want to work 10% less, 10% fewer hours. And I hit it that first month, and from there it was kind of no looking back. Ended up 15, 20% reduction. So that's where you can start. If you're like, I don't know what to do, what behaviors will work that'll help me work less, don't try to do it alone. We have over 150 behaviors in our productivity app that can help you, save that time. But believe me, it is possible to work less. So start there. The second thing is find someone you can talk to openly and candidly about your experience at work. Social support or community is one of the 6 factors that lead to burnout. If you don't have someone you can talk to, the chances that you're going to burn out are much higher. And, even benefits for productivity. People who say they have a friend at work are more productive than those who don't. So you need to find someone who you can talk to, who, when you share something, you don't have to worry that there will be any consequences of sharing that. Third is something that researchers call recovery experiences. Recovery experience is all about what you do when you leave work at night and how much of your, fuel tank gets refilled over the course of that night, so that when you come back to work the next day, you actually are re-energized, re-motivated, refueled to engage in the day. And there are 3 types of recovery experiences that researchers talk about. The first is what they call psychological detachment. This is about not thinking about work, clearing your head, engaging in a different mental space. It's avoiding doing things like checking your email constantly or just logging back in at 10 p.m. or, doing those types of things that keep your mind constantly engaged with work. The second is called relaxation techniques. And as it sounds, these are, simply doing things that are physically and cognitively relaxing. It might be sitting outside looking up at the stars. It might be reading a fiction novel, something like that just allows you to rest and relax. The third actually has the most evidence for it and might seem contradictory of the second, but is what they call mastery experiences. Mastery experiences is when you do something outside of work, unrelated to work, that allows you to exhibit a sense of mastery or achievement. And so often that involves doing something that is at least a little challenging for you. It might be running a mile, or it might be hiking up a hill near your house, or it might be engaging in a rec volleyball tournament. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is that you're doing something that's somewhat challenging and you're exhibiting a sense of mastery or control over that situation. You're showing you can do it. Why is that important? Well, one of the 6 factors that lead to burnout is control. And control is important because it affects our motivation levels. If I feel like I have a high degree of control over what's happening in my environment, then I'm more likely to be motivated. If I feel like I have no control, then there's a good chance that not only will I not feel motivated, but I will be heading towards burnout. And mastery experiences boost your sense of control. You feel like, oh, I have control over my life again. And so when you engage in a mastery experience outside of work, you come back the next day feeling like you're more in control of your environment, which is really important if you're struggling with burnout, because burnout is usually the opposite, where you're like, I don't feel like I'm in control, my workload's crazy, things are happening around me, I'm just getting swept along by the tide. And so you need to reestablish your sense of control. So there you have it. Those are 3 strategies that the research shows actually work to help you recover from burnout. They aren't vacation, it isn't taking a holiday, it's not believing that if you can just get to one day in the year or one vacation that it will change everything. You know now that that does not work. So go into these holidays, enjoy them, but don't believe that they will change everything. You can use them productively though. Use them productively to figure out, how are you going to work less? How are you going to build social support within your work context? How are you going to enable yourself to recover at night and on the weekends so that you come back to work refreshed? Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, I'd love for you to share it, like it, subscribe to our channel. We'll be sharing more of these. And thank you again for watching.